is our brand new show here on GameTrailers.com. I'm Shane Satterfield, Editor-in-Chief. Sitting alongside me today, we have Ryan Stevens, Managing Editor. What's up, man?
Oh, not much.
We have Patrick Morales, Associate Editor for GT. What's going on?
Hey, how's it going?
And we have the one and only Justin Spear, Previews Editor for the site.
Yo.
So welcome to the new show. Obviously, as you can see, this is not about us. It's more about the games. We try to keep the games full screen on this show. As we speak, you'll see below that our little icons light up. For whatever reason, I look like Fred Flintstone. And Justin, how would you best describe your caricature?
I don't know. Ryan said it looked kind of like the
Sheriff of
Nottingham. Yeah. It's a little medieval.
Yeah. Well, we want to
Totally
keep the
accurate.
focus on the games here. So, we're not going to intrude on the video with our beautiful mugs. We're going to let you guys check out the games while we chat about the industry. The name of the game here is Invisible Walls. This is sort of your unfettered look at the video game industry. Going to talk about the hot issues that are in the industry, all the hot games that are coming out, and we'll have guests come on from time to time. The show will be weekly, so be sure to check back every week. And we'll also have an MP3 version of the show available for those of you who don't want to check out the video version and just want to listen. So without further ado, let's go through the rundown of what we're going to be talking about today. First, we're going to kick it off with the hot news topics of the week. Then we're going to move on to talk about our favorite game from GDC, and you'll find out what that is in a minute. Then we're going to do a segment that we call Head to Head, where two of the editors here at GT I don't know if it's a debate or just sort of sharing their thoughts on three particular topics. And then we're going to do a segment called Meet GT, which will bring some people in from GameTrailers.com that you may not normally interface with to sort of give you guys a glimpse at different professions that you guys could have in the industry, no matter what you're into. And then we're going to move on to one-word reviews, which I think is pretty self-explanatory. So first, let's talk a little bit about GDC in our news wrap-up. Guys, what did you think of the show in general? Justin, were you happy with the show? Did you think it held up to years past?
It was okay. It's not the most exciting show ever, I suppose, but if you like independent games, there's a lot of that. If you like Street Fighter IV, there's a little bit of that.
What do you guys think of independent games? Do you think it's all a big ruse? I mean, it's so funny. They won't release any of the sales figures for any of these sort of PSN or Xbox Live Arcade games that they've been putting out. They keep getting behind them and investing in them, but they won't ever tell us how they sell and how they do sort of, monetarily. What do you think, Stevens? Do you think it's just a big ploy to try to sort of give the 360 and the PlayStation 3 a window into the Wii's market?
I don't think it's that. I think it's just they see people making these games and releasing them for free, and they figure they can monetize it. I mean, last year we got Night Stories was fantastic, and that was free. It had a whole level editor and everything. And Steam, on the other hand, is being a great place for people to release games and make some money. I know Audio Surf, which I know Patrick's really into, is like the best-selling game on Steam last month, beating out all of Valve's offerings even.
Yeah, I think for our viewers or our users' purposes, GDC was probably kind of weak this year. There weren't really any big announcements, and it seemed to really be all about the garage developers, the guys who are making games, in their basements or whatever. Do you think that was the right ploy for them to take for GDC? I mean, ultimately it is about the game developers. It's Game Developers Conference. But Patrick, do you think that that's what GDC should be about, or do you think it's about building hype for the industry and showing off really hot new games that people really care about?
Well, I think if you want to talk about those really huge blockbuster games that people are excited, looking forward to, I think that's what E3 is all about. I think it's totally fitting, to have these small indie developers present at GDC. It just shows the kind of new trends in gaming that are going on. Echo Chrome looked like a very cool game. So did Fez. And it's just nice to shine the spotlight every once in a while to these lesser-known games that you otherwise might not see.
So there were some big games there. As Justin said, Street Fighter IV was there. Can we all agree that was probably our favorite game from the show?
Yep.
Yeah?
I like the dishwasher. I got to play the dishwasher. I didn't get to actually get hands-on time with Street Fighter IV, but Street Fighter IV does look pretty awesome.
What did you think of the dishwasher? That was sort of the marquee game that Microsoft showed at its big keynote.
Well, I mean, I've been following it for a while, and the fact that it's all done by one dude, and it really does feel like Ninja Gaiden or Devil May Cry on a 2D plane, and it works really well. You get the big combos. People have like a lot of life. There's enough enemies attacking you that I think it's going to be a pretty decent game when it's finally officially released as an Xbox Live Arcade title.
Yeah, but we're the hardcore quote unquote gamers. We're the people who consume as much video games as possible. And you look at obviously the Wii's opened up the market to a lot of new people, but you look at the more casual players, the people who play Madden or GTA, the real top line games, the Halos. Those people, you think they're going to really go download the Dishwasher and pay money for something like that?
Well, now you're kind of splitting between independent games and stuff that shows up on Xbox Live and PSN, which is kind of a more gray area, because like Uno sold millions and millions of copies.
Right, but couldn't somebody have programmed Uno on their own? I mean, it's pretty much the same type of game as a Dishwasher.
Yeah, but I mean, well, what do you mean same type of game?
A game that costs $8 or $9 to buy. Real simple concept, something everybody can understand and come to grips with. Doesn't require 85 buttons to play. I mean, they're the same type of games. They're casual games is really what it comes down to.
I wouldn't call Dishwasher casual.
No?
No.
I mean,
casual games, something like people that play Bejeweled and stuff. It's an independent game because it's kind of weird. I mean, you're a dishwasher. But I wouldn't call it a casual game at all.
No?
No.
You think that game is made for the hardcore players who would normally be playing, say, Army of Two or Condemned?
Well, I don't think it's as strict as like hardcore and casual. I think there's a lot more grayer market because hardcore people that are playing, every Atlas release that's released, That's
Like
me,
Justin
over there.
What do you think, Justin? Do you think that these games are made for hardcore people like us, or do you think that this market that Microsoft and Sony is creating is more for casual players who only have limited amounts of time to play or maybe aren't interested in spending, 14 hours to get through a
Well,
game?
there's some of these games, you have like chaining mechanics and combo mechanics, and that's something I associate with, not casual games. Dishwasher, it's totally action focused. I don't know. For me, I guess I kind of see it as it's kind of like a charity where you're like, this game's pretty cool. This guy's done a good job. I'll give him a little money, and then instead of a coffee mug or a duffel bag, you get a game that you can have fun with for 20 minutes, maybe a few hours.
Patrick, what about you? Have you downloaded any of these $7 to $10 games on your PlayStation 3 or 360?
Oh yeah, I've definitely acquired AudioSurf the minute it was online. Even for beta, I was such a big fan of it that I decided to buy on Steam. I have my own copy now. And as for just the general question of would I buy indie games on a regular basis, I would, if there were some that appealed to me. If Sony or Microsoft somehow coerced Pixel into getting the rights for Cave Story, I would definitely buy that for either, my 360 or my soon-to-be PS3.
Gotcha. So, moving on, the other big story right now in the industry is Phil Harrison leaving Sony to go to Atari. Now, Phil's sort of been the face of the PlayStation brand for several years now. We've had a pretty interesting history with Phil. We've done some pretty crazy interviews with him. He's a very smart guy, but sometimes in the interviews when he gets back into a corner, he has a weird way of getting out of it. And here's a little clip from an interview we did with him at DICE, not this year, but the year before. Let's take a look. What games do you really have targeted for 2007 that you think is going to be the killer app that's really going to move the hardware for you guys?
Starting off in the next couple of weeks, I think MotorStorm is going to be the title which a lot of consumers are going to respond positively to, because it, in my opinion, is the first title that really fulfills the promise of what the PlayStation 3 and particularly what the Cell processor can do for gameplay.
To me, it's not that killer app, that Metal Gear Solid 4, that Halo 3, that Zelda, that's really going to make people rush out and want to buy the hardware. What game this year do you really think has that power to do that?
Well, I'd obviously disagree with you. I think it is a killer app, and I think that the response that we're getting from consumers and from retailers shows that people are clearly pre-ordering it in huge quantities.
So, as you can see, there really is no way to win a debate with Phil Harrison. Basically, if you win the debate, he just politely agrees to disagree. And it'll be interesting to see if he can take that sort of way of thinking over to Atari and really make changes, because that's a company that's really been in the tank for quite a while now.
I think he's already brought that way of thinking over to Atari, considering Atari is the future, it seems.
Why do you think he did this, guys? I mean, why would you leave? He had a great job. He was the head of worldwide studios at Sony, basically controlling all their first-party development for the PlayStation 3 and the PSP. Why would you do that to go to a publisher that basically has Dragon Ball and Alone in the Dark and little else?
Maybe you want to be a big fish in a smaller pond, take up some more space.
But he's a big
Slap
fish
people
in a
with
big
your tail.
pond. The biggest fish in a huge pond. I mean, what? Is it just money? Do you guys think he just got paid a ton of money and all of a sudden he just jetted? I mean...
Well, Well, I know Infogrames, or however you pronounce it, is now trying to buy the rest of Atari, like their stocks, at like $1 or something. So we all know Atari doesn't have much. I'm not sure, how well does Infogrames do in, everything they do.
Info what?
They're pretty big, I guess, right?
I mean, it's supposed to be big. Apparently, they have some other media stuff that they do. It's not just games for them. It's kind of like, I guess, Vivendi in a way in
Right.
Europe. But here, Infogrames is, most people don't even know what Infogrames is. It used to be huge in gaming here many, many moons ago. But once they got the Atari brand.
Yeah, they do everything through Atari here
Right,
now,
yeah.
game-wise.
Game-wise,
So,
Well, do you think it's because Phil maybe had reached a point at Sony where he didn't feel like he could make a difference anymore? I mean, at Atari, he can make a huge difference. If he is the one responsible for ultimately turning that company around, I mean, that's a nice feather to put in your cap, don't you think?
I guess my question is, well, I guess he went straight to Atari, so he probably wasn't fired from Sony, and Sony had a...
Or was he? Remember, he made all those statements at GDC about how he felt Sony's, Japanese branch had sort of cut them off from pursuing the more casual type games and network games and family games. And I know we tried to get an interview with him at DICE. Not happening. We've always interviewed him at DICE. Tried to get an interview with him at GDC. Again, wasn't happening. Always interview him at GDC. So, one, it looks like whatever was going down had already been decided way before DICE. So, I don't know. Was he pushed out or was he not? Will we ever know?
Probably a little of this and a little of that. He probably felt like the waters were... probably felt like the tide was no. Probably felt like maybe it was a good time to get out. And then the Atari... this is all speculation. The Atari situation presented itself. And then like the stuff he was... Like the whole casual game stuff is probably just 11th hour. I can say whatever the hell I want sort of thing.
Well, you also got to look at it like, his job was to nurture along compelling first-party software. If we look over the first year of the PlayStation 3, what games really did they put out from a first-party perspective that really moved the needle for them? I can't really think of any. MotorStorm was pumped up to be this, the best racing game ever. It under-delivered on many fronts. Heavenly Sword, cool game, lasted 5 hours, didn't move the needle. What other projects did he work on that really helped them in their fight against the other platforms?
Well, does he get to bolster like second-party stuff? Does he get to say, I did that? Because I know they just released those
can't really
average
hang his hat
reviews.
on like Insomniac's games or Naughty Dog's games. Those developers were making games for the PlayStation 2 that sold in the millions, and Phil had nothing to do with that. He was more in control of the worldwide stuff. A lot of the stuff from Europe was definitely him. So you look at games like MotorStorm and Heavenly Sword; those were really games that he could hang his hat on for that company. And I'd say both of those games pretty much underperformed compared to
MotorStorm had some good patches.
Yeah. It still takes, 10 seconds to load up your car when you're trying to select the car in that game?
Well, I don't know if you can pin all that on him.
No, obviously it's not all his fault, but that ultimately when things go wrong, it's usually not the people who are really knee-deep in projects that get the blame. It's the person who is overseeing those projects who really gets hacked for it. So, we'll probably never know what happened. Maybe someday we'll get to sit down with Phil once he's at Atari and get the real story. But I guess right now it's just all conjecture, right?
How do you think a Phil Harrison interview would go, discussing Dragon Ball Z?
It'll be interesting to do an interview with him after him working at Sony to try to find an interesting way to do it, because, what do you talk about? You can't get him to talk about him leaving Sony, which he won't.
I wonder what his power level is.
He could cosplay as Krillin. Is that the guy with bald little
Yeah.
dots? Put some dots on his head.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch. I think there's definitely something behind it all. He could have pretty much gone to any company he wanted to go to, if you think about it. Who wouldn't have hired Phil Harrison?
Time to fight!
All right, next we're going to talk about what we all consider the best game at GDC, and that would be Street
The dishwasher.
Fighter. A dishwasher. That would actually be Street Fighter 4, with all due respect to the dishwasher. Not a whole lot of really great games shown at the show. Street Fighter 4 to me definitely was the creme de la creme. Capcom was showing it in a private suite, and you could pretty much go up there anytime and check it out, and I think that was part of the problem. You go up there and the place was just mobbed. It was really hard to get time on the cabinet. We did get a time to play, though. Justin, I saw you up in there whooping up on some people playing with the new characters. What were your impressions of the two new characters that are in the game?
Oh, well, it's kind of the same thing. Like again, like when I first look at them, look at the sketches released on the internet, I'm like, that chick looks like a King of Fighters character. I don't know, but actually sitting down and playing it, it's it's easier to buy it when it's right there in front of you. And like, okay, the Crimson Viper I played with a good bit. I had a few good runs. She seems really powerful at this point. I'm sure they're still doing a lot of balancing, but I don't know. Overall, the new characters, they have cool looking supers. It's with sequels, it's always good to bring in some fresh faces for the cast.
I guess my first impression of it was that it's very similar to Street Fighter 2. I mean, I was able to jump right in, play with my favorite character, no problem. Timing was a little different on some of the characters, but otherwise it felt very natural and very familiar. Is that good or bad? I mean, Patrick, what do you think? You're a huge fighting game fan. Do you want to see an evolution of a game like that, or do you like that Street Fighter 4 is very much like the games that came before it?
Well, I think part of this success of the Street Fighter franchise it has always remained to a very true and very familiar formula that people have known since Street Fighter 2 in the early mid-90s. Yet bringing something new to the table with each iteration, and I think that's what Street Fighter 4 is doing here. It's staying very true to the formula by having the original 8 World Warriors. All guys we've used before. Everyone knows how to do a Hadouken, a Dragon Punch, a Sonic Boom. But at the same time, it's bringing these new things to the table as well, like the revenge system. That seems like a pretty cool addition.
I thought that was pretty well balanced.
Can you guys explain that? Because I've read it, but it seems like something that I need to do.
Basically, it just balances it. It gives people who are getting their asses kicked a chance.
And you're going to have a chance to have revenge. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I can take a crack at a really quick summary. So I'm just going to try it.
Okay.
Okay, you can use focus attacks to you kind of eat a hit, and then you can be invincible for a while, suck up a hit, and then hit somebody. You can also use it as a canceling tool, like you can use a focus attack, cancel out of it, then hit someone with the other attack. So it's kind of like it's an advanced combo tool on one hand, and it's kind of a simple get back into the game mechanic on the other hand.
If you've ever played the Guilty Gear series, the FRC, False Roman Cancels, it kind of operates on the same level.
Yeah. So one of the cool things about Street Fighter 4, at least at the arcades in Japan, is that if you look at any footage, there's a little wireless icon at the bottom of the screen. And what it is after every match, it's beaming back information to Capcom headquarters so they can use that information to balance the game. They can look at head-to-head, one character against another. If one character is always demolishing another, they can adjust that. They can look at one character just whooping up on everybody. They can figure out if everyone's just choosing to use one or two characters. They can investigate that, try to figure out why that is. It's the first time it's ever been done. Usually they have to go to the machines themselves to get the information. This time it's going straight to Capcom so they can make adjustments on the fly. So, they still won't commit to a console version, which is ridiculous. It's coming for the consoles. Why would you think that they wouldn't talk about the console version? It's not going to keep people from going to the arcades. Hell, there aren't any arcades here that you could even go to and play it. So why would you think that they're holding back on admitting that the game is going to be on the consoles?
Well, Capcom does that whole we develop so we can port to anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, all the games are made on the PC. Street Fighter 4 was actually, when we played it at GDC, it was a PC running inside a cabinet. I mean, that's sort of the way that they make all their games.
So maybe they're just trying to decide where exclusivity should sit.
Think they're waiting for the money hat?
Hope not.
It's probably just Japanese game company politics. These guys never like to talk about anything. U.S. branches are kind of like puppets. I mean, no offense to them, but they don't really have any power to make decisions and say what's going to be up. They have to wait for it to be passed down. So
where the hell are we going to play? Is my question.
I think we should get one for our offices.
Yeah, we should definitely. That would be
I'm not
great.
joking.
But it was funny. I was talking to Ono-san, and I was like, is this coming to American arcades? And he basically said, if Capcom isn't going to do it, we're going to work with a third party, to someone else, to bring Street Fighter 4 to the arcades. I mean, obviously Capcom's going to have to relent and release it here, but it's a shame that we're going to have to wait so long to be able to sit on our couch and play the game, in my opinion. Otherwise, though, I think we all could say we are totally stoked on Street Fighter 4, right? Mm-hmm. Looking pretty good.
Can you beat up on cars in between levels?
They haven't shown that yet.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess some people may like that. I think that may be part of the design that maybe just should go away.
No, there's strong rumors. No, you gotta, the car doesn't fight back. That's what's fun.
That's true. All right, next up we have a little segment that I think is going to be my favorite on the show. I think some of the editorial guys here are a little afraid of it, but we're going to give it a go anyway. This is called Head to Head, and this is where we pit two of Game Trailer's editors against each other, and I don't know if I'd call it a debate. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to give them a topic, and they're going to have 30 seconds to sort of make their point on that topic. Then I will arbitrarily assign scores to their responses, and after 3 rounds we'll tally up the scores and we'll determine a winner. The winner will return next week to the show to defend his crown. Maybe someday we could even pull in some of our listeners to come in and take on the GT editors. So without further ado, here is the debut of Head to Head, and this week we have Ryan Stevens, managing editor for GameTrailers.com.
Yo!
Going up against Justin Spear, our previews editor.
He's not Alexander.
I'm going to eat your children.
So without further ado, Ryan Stevens, you are first up
Oh, wow.
with question/topic number 1. The question is, which platform will see the most growth this year? Ready, go.
I am going to go with the PlayStation 3 because I know I'm going to be getting one this year with my $600 refund check from the government. Also, Blu-ray is now one, so you don't have to worry about HD DVD. I feel a lot of people already got their 360s and are waiting to buy their PS3s, and the Wii is still hard to find. Maybe if Nintendo can actually output some machines, they'll be giving the PS3 a run for its money, but I think this could be the year for the PS3, because I'm going to buy one. Me, 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 me.
I liked how you changed your meter there. It's like when you first started, you were slow, and then you thought, maybe I'm running out of time, and you started picking it up there a little bit at the end.
And then the end was just filler, pure filler.
And then you just realized you had nothing else to say with 5 seconds to go. But good job nonetheless. Now we have Justin Spear. Ready to go, man?
Okay, let me know.
You prepared?
Choose the PSP.
Yeah.
Again, the question is, which platform will see the most growth this year? Ready, go.
Well, I think the PS3 really is the obvious answer just because they have a lot of room to grow. Not necessarily that they're going to come out and kick everyone's ass, but they obviously have a lot of slack to pick up. 360 ought to continue doing well. I don't think it's going to get totally trounced. The Wii, there are a lot of Wiis out there. I expect it to, people still keep picking it up, but, it's already dominating, so it doesn't really have enough. What am I talking about? Can we do that one over? Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see. Both of you guys kind of ran out of steam. Maybe 30 seconds is a little bit too long to expand on these topics, although I thought I kept that one pretty open. I mean, there was lots of room there for you guys to extrapolate on the data.
We didn't hit Metal Gear.
No, you guys didn't talk about Metal Gear. I was disappointed in that. You guys didn't talk about Smash Brothers and Mario Kart coming out for the Wii. So, let's see. Arbitrary scores, Ryan, I'm going to give you a 5 for that round, and you were lucky because you got to go first. And Justin, you only gave us about 20 seconds, so I'm going to give you a 2.
I'll make it up next round.
That's right, you get to go first this round. Question number 2, Justin, you go first. What will be the sleeper hit this year, and why? Ready, go.
The sleeper hit this year. I have a feeling that it has yet to be announced, but it will be something that's not very popular. People won't see it coming. It won't make a lot of noise. They'll be a little lethargic at first, but I don't know. There's a lot of. I think it will be a 360 game. People are looking for the PS3 to come up and kick some ass, and the Wii is like, it's gonna keep doing its thing. So that'll be awesome.
Ooh, that was tough. You didn't take advantage of your ability to expand upon Ryan's comments in the first round after he went first. So see if Steven's going to do any better. You ready?
I'm ready.
What will be the sleeper hit this year and why? Ready, go.
Well, instead of rambling on with the definition of what a sleeper hit would be, I think I will actually suggest a title with, let's go with Mirror's Edge. I've been intrigued by this game since I saw it on the cover of Edge, and I know some people have got to have seen it recently at GDC, and there's some speculation if it will actually be good or not. But with Assassin's Creed being so strong last year, I think moving that to first person and DICE possibly actually being able to pull it off with this first person parkour movements, it could.
That was good, Stevens. I like that. I'm not completely convinced on Mirror's Edge yet, but I think it definitely has some promise. And at least you actually talked about a game.
I also got to diss him, and they.
You did,
Yeah,
and you
that's good.
spent your time wisely there. Justin, it's looking tough. You're going to need a strong third round, because for that one, I'm going to give Ryan another full 5. I'm going to have to give you a 1.
I'm going to get 999 points this next one. That'd be great.
I want 3 7s and an ostrich egg.
All right. So, Justin, you do get to go last this time since you are behind on the scores. Ryan, you're going to have to come out of the gate strong here. The last question is, how do you think E3 is going to be this year? Ready? Go.
I think E3 will hopefully be better than last year. It's going to be centralized, so us, the press, will have better access to covering events, and I think it's going to have to put the publishers and the developers into a more competitive spot like previous E3s, where they actually have to make us want to cover their games, and not we have us trotting all over Santa Monica in hopes of finding something good and then showing up and finding out your schedule has been bumped or something like that, because last year's E3.
Okay, that was good. I like that response. Justin, you had a chance to listen to Ryan, so hopefully you formulated some of your own opinions. You've had at least 30 seconds to think about the topic. Are you ready?
Sure.
How do you think E3 will be this year? Ready? Go.
I think it's going to be pretty close to old days. People are going to, after last E3, it's all, all spread out. Not a lot of great response. People are going to be like, let's take it back to the old E3. We're going to have big, loud booths, people really pushing their stuff. We're going to have girls with tits, dancing around. It's going to be techno music all the time. Nintendo will have huge freaking lines. I think maybe it'll be more exciting for the, the consumers and people out there. Like media, we're always fine no matter.
Yeah. I think that question was pretty terrible. I think I have to take that upon myself for giving you guys a terrible question.
So Shane gets negative 10 points.
So I'll give myself a negative 10 on that one. I'll give you guys both 3s, which means that Ryan Stevens is our champion. We're returning next week to defend his crown.
Right.
Guys, shake
no.
hands and say good game.
Oh no, I was defeated. So demoralized.
So anyway, that was head-to-head. We'll be returning with that segment next week, much to the chagrin of the Game Trailers editorial staff. All right, next we're going to move on to a segment we like to call Inside GT. I think this is probably one of those questions we get all the time is, how do I get a job in the industry? And you don't just have to have a job like us where we sit around and write about games or talk about games. There's a lot of different jobs in the video game industry that you can take, and I think that's what we really want to do with this segment, is let people know that whatever talents that they may have, there's a place for them in the industry to work. And one of those people who loves games but never really went the journalism route is Brent Phillips. And Brent Phillips is basically the brain trust of Game Trailers. He's a masterful programmer, and he just launched a brand new site called WikiCheats. So we're going to talk to him about that. So what's up, Brent? What's going on, man?
Not much. What's happening?
What's going on with WikiCheats? So it launched, 2 weeks ago? Is that right?
Yeah, we've been kind of developing the beta site for many, many months now. One of the biggest things about a cheat site is that it's nothing without the content. You can't launch, a cheat site with 10 cheats on it and expect anybody to go there. So we've been spending a lot of time, writing walkthroughs, getting the content up so that we can hit that critical mass where it's a place to go. And then since it's a wiki structure, we're hoping that people will add content and then it'll get going, and then that'll be the end of our input of content, and it'll just come from the community entirely.
Now explain how Wiki works for people who may not be familiar with it.
Well, so basically, a wiki just means that anyone can come and add content. We all know it from Wikipedia, obviously, and we actually run on the same software that Wikipedia does, although heavily modified. But if you went there, it looks exactly the same, and that's on purpose so that people know how to use it. The basic idea is, and I don't want to dog on GameFAQs, but they're just the current.
GameFAQs rocks. Let's admit it. We've all got so much use out of GameFAQs over the years. It's been my savior on many, many nights. So.
But the reason GameFAQs rocks is because of its content, because it's just such a ridiculous library of information.
Right.
Not because of the user interface. The user interface is ridiculously bad, and that's not their fault. It's
Right.
just how the how the community has kind of grown up is that, you know, you sit at home and you write your guide in a TXT file with ASCII art, and then you upload it, and then that's it.
Yeah.
So when you get to GameFAQs, there's like 13 guides with version numbers, I guess, and you're like, well, I don't really know which one of these to use. And even so, I mean, when you get in there, there's a table of contents, but you can't click any of it. It's all a text file.
Right.
And we're kind of going against the grain here by building this into the wiki structure so that singular authors aren't called out as more. It's not just theirs. It's
How do you think that's
everyone's.
going to affect? I mean, don't you think a lot of the kids write, and it's a lot of work, man, to write a fact. Like, I would never write a frickin' fact, not for free, that's for sure. I mean, do you think that's what motivates a lot of these kids to do it, though? Because they can put their little name and ASCII art on the top and, like, you know.
Well, I mean, that's absolutely why they do it.
Yeah.
But the advantage of wiki cheats is that you don't have to write an entire fact. No one expects you to sit at home for 17 hours and write the guide to Final Fantasy VII, unless you work for me at WikiCheats. Right. The idea is that you know, you can come in and just write, you know, how did I get past the boss at the end of level 2 or something like that. If other people want to come in and fill it out, great. If someone does want to spend 17 hours, that's awesome too. We're working on a lot of features to kind of rise to the top the users that are contributing the most. A lot of them aren't there yet, except on the front page you can kind of see the highest rated users. Mm-hmm. So unlike Wikipedia or something, all the edits on WikiCheats can be rated with a thumbs up or thumbs down. So much like Dig or something like that, you'll see that the different edits will have different ratings on them. And so we can aggregate that per the site, per game, per guide, whatever, and you can see which users are contributing where. And then, you know, we'll take that to the next level is you'll be able to go to a user's page and see which ones they've been working on. And we're just going to build out all those features with all the community stuff that you've come to expect from GT, but really take it to the next level because that's all this is a community. This needs to rock as hard as it can. While we're doing that, we're also going to be adding a lot of new features. One of the things that we liked a lot in just kind of forums was Blizzard's forums. Whenever a staff member posts, you know, there's kind of a blue dot next to the post, so you know when those people post. So we're going to kind of take that to the next level and add not ego dots, which is dots for yourself. That's been around for a while. I think you can. That's actually in there now. Mm-hmm. But we're going to take that to the next level. There'll be admin dots, mod dots, staff dots, and then friend dots. So if your friends post somewhere, you can go find where that is. There's going to be a lot of other kind of design changes and other stuff like that, but that's really kind of the big feature there.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming by, Brent. We appreciate the look inside GameTrailers.com. Brent is one of the original brothers of Game Trailers, so thank you very much for the foundation you laid down so that people like us could come here and have awesome jobs. Thanks, man.
You're very welcome.
Next up, we have one-word reviews. This week's target is Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Probably going to be one of the biggest selling games of the year. Tons of hype around this game. It's kind of an acquired taste. This segment's pretty simple. You get one word to review a game, so you have to choose very carefully. Ryan Stevens, your one-word review for Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
Fantastic, but fan is all in uppercase letters.
That's good. That's good. I like that. Patrick, your one-word review for Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
I was going to say fantabulous, but that would be too similar. So I'm going to have to go with carbon, because the half-life of carbon is like so long, which is how long you're going to be playing a game.
Interesting.
Wait, is it? I suck at science.
What? Justin Spear, your one-word review for Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
Bitchin'. Pretty bitchin' game.
Is that with an ing or an in and an apostrophe?
I think I'll use the apostrophe on that one.
Sweet.
And for me, my one-word review of Super Smash Bros. Brawl, I know a lot of people aren't going to like this, it's going to be same.
And I think we should probably ask our little audio guy, Johnny Chang, who's going to be popping up down on the bottom right now. What's your one-word review?
Welcome to the show, bro. Brawlerlific.
That's pretty good.
It's definitely better than same.
I'm glad I unmuted you.
Should we make all our words portmanteaus? That'd be kind of a weird
Oh,
name.
did you?
Brawlzy.
Brawlzy, that's a good one. And with that, we wrap up the debut episode of Invisible Walls here at GameTrailers.com. Now, a big part of the show going forward is going to be you guys interacting with us. We're going to answer your questions on the show. And Ryan, where can they submit their questions?
Well, Shane, they can go to invisiblewalls.gametrailers.com, read our blog, post comments, and eventually we'll have an email address. You can private message us. There will be even a phone number you can call in and leave your obscene comments.
And we probably won't ever put a blog up there.
Well, there'll be something to comment on.
And actually, as an added bonus, whoever gets on that page and types first into the comments section
We'll be banned forever.
will be perma-banned from GameTrailers.com. No, actually, you will receive a Turok beanie, which is currently laying on the floor of my office. So, the big prize to go for there. Hurry up and rush on over there. Check out invisiblewalls.gametrailers.com. Come back next week. This show is weekly, so we'll be rocking it out week after week. Hope you guys liked it. We'll see you next time.